Daphne Goode at Merridale Ciderworks in the gorgeous Cobble Hill region of Vancouver Island. Welcome to Go Island, Cowichan Valley. On today's show, Dan Conn gets people to open up with Talk to Me. We'll take you on another road trip to introduce you to some summer travel possibilities. And we'll be getting lots of great information about the chemical-free products at Merridale Ciderworks.
Go Island is brought to you by German Auto Import Network.
The Portland Cider Summit happened in June, and we can be proud of Merridale Ciderworks as they came out voted as Large Cidery of the Year. Rick Pipes is with me, one of the owners of Merridale. And Rick, what do you attribute your success to?
I don't think we can attribute it to one thing. It's a combination of wonderful people who are proud of what they do. It's the quality of the fruit that we grow. It's the terroir of the Cowichan Valley. It's the way we handle our fruit. It's a combination of everything. What we try to do is stay very true to the original craft, the way cider was made hundreds of years ago. And by doing that, we put in a lot more love and labor, but we end up with a better finished product.
Well, you sure do. Congratulations for that great win. And I guess the secret is the apples, partially. And I'm dying to ask you about the difference between good cidery apples and all the other apples that are out there.
Well, traditionally in North America, cider has been made from culls left over at the packing houses. So the fruit which isn't sellable in the grocery stores, and because that's the cheapest way to get your apples. In Europe, cider's always been made from apples grown for that purpose, just as good wine is made from the right cultivars of grapes. So the cider that we make is actually made from English and French cider apples. So these aren't leftover throwaway apples from the packing houses. These are apples grown specifically for this purpose.
Wow, even more impressive, because at the Portland Cider Summit, I understand there were English and French and Italians all represented as well. So you were up against some pretty stiff competition, people who no doubt are using also real cidery apples.
Yes, we were. But we have a couple of little tricks that we use that most of them don't use because they take a lot more time. And so it tends to come through in the finished product, and you get more flavor. And so that's when I say we stay true to the craft. We don't cut any corners on those.
Excellent. Now this orchard is absolutely fabulous. It looks pretty large. How many acres?
Our property is 20 acres. We've got about 12 acres of fruit here, which at 12 acres, it's not a very large orchard, but it happens to be one of the largest orchards on Vancouver Island, but we also think it's one of the largest cider apple orchards in all of North America. As I say, most apples are dedicated to eating fruit,
right.
And this one is dedicated entirely to cider cultivars.
Now we know that you've had a lot of tourists and visitors. We're going to talk to Janet, the other owner here at Merridale, a little later about that. But of those visitors and tourists and people who come through, are you proud of the fact that you have something unique and different? And is that what they reflect back to you?
Oh, definitely. And in fact, that's a lot of what we do here. Is the experience is we're not another winery. And what we do is very unique, and so we focus on that. We do our tastings differently than a winery does. We do group tastings and try to create some energy amongst the group, and you should chat to the people at the tasting bar next to you instead of this little cloistered feeling like a lot of cider winery bars are. Right,
and that's really opening up the experience and helping people understand from sharing their opinions about the product. That's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, it is, and we also started from the very first day we got here focusing on education. We needed to explain to people why our product is more expensive than the commercial ciders, and in order to explain that, we had to build an education center, and that's what this is. Yeah. This is about educating on why our cider is different and what's to be enjoyed about it, and hopefully people leave here as Merridale converts.
I've seen a few of them myself, and I might even be considered one of them. What about the wholesalers and retailers? You must have great support there.
Oh, we have excellent support on Vancouver Island, Lower Mainland. We don't actually export our cider much past the Lower Mainland, partly because we sell out every year, and partly because we like to maintain the quality and the quality control of our cider, and the closer we keep it, the easier that is to do. Most of our, we only sell our cider to local private liquor stores. We don't sell to the government liquor stores. And that's partly because of the way the system's set up, but also they're easier for us to work with in terms of ensuring that the cider is always refrigerated. They know how to handle it. They work with us on making sure that the cider is fresh always when the consumer gets it. So we want to make sure that as much as possible, nobody ever gets a bad bottle of Merridale cider.
Fabulous. And preservation is important because it's chemical free. We're going to learn about that a bit later in the show. But first of all, I had the opportunity recently to meet a group of volunteers who didn't mind getting their hands dirty because it was helping to brighten the lives of some people who are living in Duncan, some seniors who really wanted a wonderful garden back. So here's Dan Kahn with that story. We are inside the cidery now with Laurent Lafuente, and what great experience he brings. A French-trained winemaker. He's had 7 years as a master blender of rum in the West Indies, and he was for 6 years in Naramata as a winemaker and distiller, and he's been for 1 year at Merridale. So I know that Merridale is very, very proud of their chemical-free beverage, Laurent. Is that a challenge? How do you create it?
Yes, it is a real challenge, and this is what we are trying to achieve, making sure that we maintain high standard using as little quantity of chemicals.
So you changed your cidery practices, I understand, to achieve that. What does it take?
Well, what we have done is we completely changed the cellar. We bought brand new stainless steel tank, floatable top lid, in order to have a better control of the volume. But first it starts in orchard, where we guarantee that the apples we are going to use are the best, the highest quality. They are selected, in fact. When we do the next step, the fermentation, we make sure we use only natural ingredients, never chemicals. When we finish the healthy fermentation, after probably 2 to 3 weeks, we rack off lees the cider to make sure we don't have any solid residues that could damage the flavor profile of the cider. And then we undertake very rapidly pre-fermentation in order to remove those solids again, in order to obtain ciders as clean as possible.
Now you must be very proud of the award as well, because you're here overseeing everything, up against competition from many parts of the world, and you've lived in a lot of countries of the world, so it must have just felt wonderful.
Yes, it's an exciting result. I think it's a teamwork effort at first, and I think everybody has to be congratulated. But first of all, I think that it's just the result of our cellar practice, that showing that when you work very hard, making sure that you use as less as possible chemicals, so you obtain the best products, and the public is already ready to acknowledge that, and this is why I'm very proud for the team and the cidery.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Laurent. Wow, we're moving on with the show. We're taking a quick break, but when we come back, you'll find out all about top entertainment picks and Kim Rock's coming up. At the Portland Cider Summit, Merridale Ciderworks was awarded Best in Show for their cider, along with 3 gold medals, a silver, and 2 bronze medals.
Alright, this first one here is called the Cedar Normandy. So this is our very dry cider. It's more of a French style cider, aged in French oak for just over a year. So this one's actually double fermented and unfiltered, so it's about 12%. So it's more of an alternative to wine. And for that reason, I would take 2 sips. The first sip is a bit of a shock to the system because it's quite dry and strong. Definitely not a classic cider. This next one here is called the Scrumpy. Now the scrump actually means to steal. It was a slang term used back in the day by peasants in England, when they would scrump or steal any apples from their landlord's orchards, collect them up, make a very homemade, quite a raw, cloudy cider. This one is actually based on a Merridale house cider. So it's an apple cider, but then after fermentation, mixed with sour cherries, black currants, and raspberries. We're definitely on the sweet side now. It's about 6% now as well, so even lighter. So this one, like the Merryberries, again, based on our house cider, but then after fermentation, mixed with wildflower honey. So we actually make our own honey here on site. So we have domestic bees and beekeepers to take care of them. And we sell the honey by the jar in the farmhouse store as well. It's just a subtle taste of honey though, just a hint.
We are now at the tasting bar at Merridale Ciderworks, and Janet Doherty, the other owner, is with me. It's a great room, Janet. I've always loved this room because there's local art as well, a great ambiance, and cider, of course. What sort of ciders are available?
Lots and lots of cider. So what we try to do here is have something for everybody. So we start with our really dry of a Cidre Normandy, moving up to a Scrumpy, which is a very traditional cider from England, which goes with just about everything. And then we move up to a Mary Berry, little sweeter with some fruit juice, Sizer with a bit of honey, and then a Winter Apple, which is one of our fortified products. So it's really kind of cool because that puts together our cider as well as our spirits.
Right.
And then, of course, we move on to the spirit line, but all kinds of different tastes.
Yeah, and when I first came here, I don't think there were spirits, but now there's a vodka available, I understand?
There is, yeah. We've got, actually we have been doing spirits for a number of years, but we haven't really embarked on the process in terms of marketing it because it just really wasn't favorable to do so.
Yeah.
But with the new legislation that's come through, we are now going at it in a big way. So we've got some fizzy vodka. I think we're probably only the second one. There's one made in France, one made here in the Cowichan Valley. And we've got some Cowichan brandy, which has actually been aging in barrel for 6 years now. So we've just released it. And we've released it at an awesome price for the consumer because of this new legislation. So it's really fun.
Fabulous. And speaking of consumer, of course, it's always nice to have a little cheese with a cider or any number of other food pairings, which you've become very accomplished at. Tell us about the food and wine, or cider pairings, sorry.
Not at all, no, because we love hanging out with our wineries as well as our breweries. It's just all good stuff from the valley. But yeah, we introduced our bistro, and that gives us the opportunity to be serving some food up with the cider. We do the pizza nights, which are just huge fun too, because it's a real community thing with all the local music. And then we compare our cider with pizzas, and again, we get to hang out with the wineries, so we highlight some of those as well.
Yeah, okay, then I am remembering correctly. I remember once sitting on the balcony here and just thoroughly enjoying the scene. There was great live music, and it's wonderful that the wineries and the cidery are partnering because, as you say, it's all supportive of sustainable practices and supporting great Cowichan Valley produce and products, and there's so many of them.
There are just so many of them, and it's one of the things that I really like about living on the island is islanders are very loyal to islanders, but why not? Because there's so much here that's so good.
Yeah, exactly. Now, what about festivals? I've seen you around Vancouver Island. It's great that you take your product out, and we're all seeing it. Where are you going to be in the next while?
Well, actually, it'll be my son, Jason, who goes out and does the festivals and events. But there's, as you know, lots of good community events coming up. So the next one will be, we've got coming up at Philip's Backyard Bash. That'll be tons of fun. And there's a vendor one that's coming up in Victoria, the food vendor truck. So we'll be participating in that. And Rufflandia, which is a huge concert and we've been a part of for a number of years, which is really great. And then for many people here, it's the Great Canadian Beer Fest. So we'll be attending those ones as well up until the end of the summer.
So Merridale is everywhere all through the summer into the fall. Thanks, Janet, and wishing you a great season and all through the next few years. I know you're going to be bringing in all kinds of great entertainment and events for us.
Oh, thanks so much for coming up. It's always a pleasure having you here.
Lots of fun. Well, and speaking of fun and being out on the road, we're going on a road trip. We're going to tell you about maybe a few ideas for your summer getaway. And Dan Kahn wants people to talk to him. That's coming up on Go Island, Cowichan Valley. Well, this is a wonderful place to be in the orchard at Merridale Ciderworks. You'll have to come out and try it yourself sometime. Thanks a lot for being with us on Go Island, Cowichan Valley, and be sure and let us know. We'd like to hear your story ideas for this program. You can reach us on Facebook, or you could tweet us at Go Island South. You can email us at go_islandsouth@shaw.ca. Hope to see you again soon. Thanks for watching.
Go Island is brought to you by German Auto Import Network, Men's Wardrobe by DG Bremner & Co., Menswear and Accessories, Hair Services provided by Salon J.